Trent Harvey, I got that work, now rock out.
Welcome home with Lady Blue Flames. We are here, episode 11. We got a lot of updates for a lot of different leagues around women's sports. Welcome in. Hope you guys have been doing well. We are going to have an update on the WNBA. We are 1 month in, so we're going to discuss where everybody is, how everybody's looking. We're also going to discuss the Hockey League. They just finished their season. Their draft is coming up in a few weeks, and they've announced the order of the draft, so we'll discuss that as well. Also, update on the Women's Soccer League. We'll talk about our book of the month towards the end, and then we'll watch some highlights. So we got a lot of updates and a lot of highlights we can cover from the previous week. So we will start with the Hockey League. So the Women's Hockey League just finished their second season, and they have 2 new teams starting in this upcoming season. So they just had an expansion draft, and both Seattle and Vancouver got to select 7 people that were not protected by the current teams. And so it went pretty good. I'm still learning the players as I'm telling you guys about them, so forgive me if I get anything wrong. But Seattle picked up Hannah Bilka, Jessie Eldridge, Julia Gosling, Anna Wilgren, Megan Carter, Emily Brown. Vancouver picked up Ashton Bell, Brooke McQuiggy, Abby Barine, Izzy Daniel, Gabby Rosenthal, Denise Krasova, Sydney Bard. And that was just from the expansion draft. They also picked up players in the free agency portion, which I didn't write all those down, but each team is kind of filling out their rosters a little bit before the actual draft, before the season. Now, the draft is on June 24th. I believe they'll be airing it live on their YouTube channel. But the draft order is New York number 1, Boston number 2, Toronto number 3, Montreal number 4, Ottawa number 5, Minnesota number 6, Vancouver number 7, Seattle number 8. So they're going from 6 teams to 8 teams. So that is the first 8 picks. If I can recall correctly, they have, I believe, 6 rounds in their draft. I know I wrote that down somewhere. But they have quite a few rounds because each team has a pretty big roster, so they have a lot of roster spots to fill. And before the draft, I'll do some research on the top picks that are coming out, and we'll discuss those on an episode before the actual draft. But that is the update on the Women's Hockey League. Their season is over. The 2025 season is over. Expansion draft complete. Draft for the entire league, June 24th, 7 p.m. on their YouTube channel. So it's be very exciting. I'm very excited to see who New York picks up and how their roster shapes out. Because obviously, New York is the closest team to me, so kind of keeping an eye on how their roster shakes up and how they're going to be looking for the upcoming season. That is the update for the Women's Hockey League. Alright. Next up, we got the Women's Soccer League. We'll recap the games starting from last Friday, which Louisville beat the Utah Royals, Seattle beat San Diego, and then on Saturday, Kansas City beat New York, New Jersey. Orlando beat Houston. Bay FC beat Portland. Angel City and Chicago ended in a draw. Washington beat North Carolina 3-1. And then I have to get the other games because those weren't ready yet. But we'll take a look at the soccer league standings as well. Okay, standings wise, we got Kansas City in the number 1 spot, Orlando in the 2nd spot, San Diego in the 3rd spot, Washington in the 4th spot, Portland in the 5th, Seattle 6th spot, Louisville in the 7th spot, and New York, New Jersey in the 8th spot. And a lot of these teams are close in points, so usually like 1 or 2 games, depending on the results, can shift where people are. Let's see. Kansas City has the biggest gap between everybody. They're 5 points ahead, the second person. And then once you get to 2 through 8, everybody's within 2 or 1 points of each other. So scoring goals in these games and getting the wins, adding to those points, we'll see where everybody ends up. Let's see. Kansas City has only lost twice. Which game was that? Let's see. Portland just beat Washington over the weekend, and then North Carolina just beat LA over the weekend as well. But that is the standings of the Women's Soccer League. And I do believe they have another international break coming up, so I'll have to pay attention to the schedule to see when that break will be. As we see, we got games this coming weekend, so it's probably after this. Yeah, so the last game before the break is June 22nd, and then they come back August 1st. So they take an international break because there's a lot of international players in the soccer league, and a lot of them play for their countries. So there's an international break, and then obviously we have a lot of players that get called to Team USA. So there'll be a lot of teams that won't have their full rosters. So they have an international break coming up. But that is the update on soccer. That's the updates on the Women's Hockey League and the Women's Soccer League. Also, I finally got me a Golden State Valkyrie item. Got this lovely Golden State Valkyries hat. It's nice purple. This is my first Golden State merch. I'm trying to wait to see if they're going to have like a purple jersey, because I don't really want another black jersey. So we'll have to wait and see. But this is made for the W. Has a line that has when the year that all the teams were established. And so I'm waiting to hopefully eventually get my Mystics one, but I wanted to get something for Golden State, so I got their hat, and it's really nice. So if you're a hat person, they definitely have some really nice WNBA hats out right now. Definitely check them out. Alright, that leads us into the bulk of our updates, which is the WNBA. Okay. Let's see. We got to go back with these games. Let's see. We got Connecticut had beat Atlanta. LA beat Dallas. Then Golden State beat the Aces. Indiana beat Chicago. Seattle beat Phoenix. Washington beat Connecticut. Minnesota beat Dallas. Golden State beat the Sparks. Atlanta beat Indiana. New York beat Chicago. The Sparks beat the Aces. Phoenix beat Dallas. Seattle beat Minnesota. And then I gotta get this weekend's, because we had a few people come back from injury. Caitlin Clark came back from her injury. Kalia Copper came back from her injury. And then Asia Wilson went out concussion protocol. So there's a lot of teams playing in and out of some of their key players. But okay, the last I gave y'all was Aces beat Dallas. And then both undefeated teams are no longer undefeated. So Minnesota got their first loss to Seattle. And New York got their first loss to Indiana. And of course, that was the game that Caitlin Clark came back. So yeah, it's been some interesting games. It's been some interesting games, to say the least. Let's see. And it's been a lot of teams that have been going back and forth. Like, they'd win one, lose one, win one, lose two, win two. So they've been kind of going back and forth. Aside from New York and Minnesota, a lot of teams have been going back and forth between winning and losing, looking sort of good, then looking bad, and then looking okay. So a lot of teams are still trying to find like their rhythm outside of New York and Minnesota. Let's see. And we'll watch highlights from a few of these games, because it's funny. Because, let's see, Seattle finally gave Minnesota that loss, but then they turn right around and they lose to Golden State. So it's a little bit weird. Like I said, it's the flow of teams have definitely not been straight lines, either up or down. There's a whole lot of zigzags going on for teams right now. A whole lot of zigzags. And then, let's see. Yesterday, Chicago beat Connecticut, and Angel Reese got her first triple-double of her career. That's the second triple-double of the season. And it's funny because both triple-doubles this season are by sophomores, Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. So I'm super happy that she ended up getting a triple-double. I just hope that she continues to have these productive type of games for the Chicago Sky. Atlanta beat Washington. We couldn't score yesterday. Like, everybody's numbers scoring wise was terrible. So I'm not even surprised that we lost that game. And then Phoenix beat the Aces, and as I said, Kalia Copper came back yesterday. So Phoenix is finally about to have all its pieces and try to create a rhythm for their team. And Asia Wilson missed her second straight game. We'll see how this week shapes out, if she comes back or not. The Aces play again Tuesday. So we don't have any games on Monday. But on Tuesday, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got 6 games on Tuesday night. 6 games. We got Connecticut play Indiana. Atlanta play New York. Atlanta, New York is going to be interesting. Washington plays Chicago. Golden State goes to Dallas. The Aces go to Minnie. That's going to be interesting as well. And then Seattle plays the Sparks. So we got a lot of games coming up on Tuesday. But let's look at the standings before then. All right. Current standings after 1 month of the season. We got Minnesota at 1 at 10-1. New York at the 2 spot at 9-1. Atlanta in the 3rd spot at 8-3. Phoenix in the 4th spot at 8-4. Seattle in the 5th spot at 6-5. Golden State in the 6th spot, 5-5. Aces in the 7th spot, 5-5. Indiana in the 8th spot, 5-5. So we have 3 teams at 5-5. 3 teams. And then 9th spot, Washington, 4-7. 10th spot, the Sparks, 4-8. Chicago in the 11th spot, 3-7. Connecticut in the 12th spot, 2-8. And Dallas in the 13th spot, 1-11. So at least all teams have won a game so far this season. Nobody's undefeated in wins or undefeated in losses right now. So, but the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th spot, that's all interesting. Because 3 of those teams are 5-5 and 1 is 6-5. So we're a month in, and we're going to see who catches the right rhythm at the right time. Is meaning getting a string of wins and putting themselves in a better spot, or some teams end up in a string of losses and drop even lower. So after 1 month, this season has definitely been very, very fun to watch. There has been a lot of key injuries, but we've also had some key players coming back from injuries. So we should definitely see some teams find a little more consistency since they have all of their pieces. One key thing for Chicago, Vandersloot is out for the season with ACL, so we'll see. I feel like Van Lith should get the opportunity to use those minutes, but we'll see how Chicago actually runs their offense, considering Van Lith is a freshman. I said a freshman. She's a rookie. So we'll see how their lineup looks over the next couple weeks. They played really well, so we'll see if that continues. But it's definitely been a very good first month. It's been good surprises, bad surprises, but it's definitely been some great games. Some players have really set themselves apart already as far as like being in an MVP race. I hate to say there's no clear favorite, but it kind of is. But there's also still time for a lot of other players to make cases for themselves. So we will see how we look in another week. But month 1 is in the books. And to be honest, as my Mystics, they are kind of where I expected them to be record-wise. But our rookies are definitely playing much higher than I expected. I don't know about other people, but at least for me, I did. Like, I knew they were going to come in and be able to play, but they have definitely exceeded expectations early on. So I'm excited to see how that reflects in our record moving forward. My biggest surprise is definitely Dallas. Like, I knew there was changes over there, but I didn't expect them to be 1-11. Like, that's definitely not something that I expected. I definitely expect them to have more wins, and I expected them to kind of be in the middle, almost bottom of that 8. So, I don't know. They got a lot of work to do if they want to catch up, but we'll see how it turns out, because, woof, 1-11 start is tough. That's rough. But I feel like most other teams are roughly where I expected them to be at this point. So I'm excited to see what changes may happen since people are getting some of their players back. But I did need to also add a name to my MVP race. Alicia Gray. Alicia Gray has been hooping. I mean, she has been hooping. So I'm definitely going to have to add her into the MVP conversation. There's still like a clear 2 or 3, but I think because of how she's been playing, she's definitely in the conversation now. She's definitely in the conversation now. She's been hooping. Alright, let's see. Let's get some stats leaders real quick. Alright, leading in points after the first month of the season, we got Nafisa Collier in the number 1 spot at 26.1. Alicia Gray in the 2 spot with 21 points per game. At 3, Asia Wilson, 20.9. Kelsey Plum tied with Asia with 20.9. And Satu Sabali in the 5th spot with 20.6. In rebounds, we got Angel Reese at the 1, averaging 11.9 assists per game. Asia Wilson at 2 with 9.6. Kiki Arifin in the 3rd spot with 9.3. Nafisa Collier in the 4th spot with 8.8. And Azarae Stevens in the 5th spot with 8.7. And assists, we got a tie for the 1st spot between Natasha Cloud and Skylar Diggins, both averaging 6.1 assists per game. In the 3rd spot, we got Courtney Williams with 6. The 4th spot, Kelsey Plum with 5.6. And the 5th spot, Veronica Burton, 5.4. And blocks per game at the number 1 spot, we got Asia Wilson, 2.6 blocks per game. And number 2 spot, Alana Smith, 2.2. And the 3 spot, Ezzie Magbagor, 1.9. And the 4th spot, Aaliyah Boston, 1.6. And tied with Collier for the 4th spot at 1.6. And steals per game at number 1 spot, we got Gabby Williams, 2.2 steals per game. Asia Wilson and Collier tied in the 2nd spot with 2. And then the 4th spot, we got Kayla Thornton, 1.9. And the 5th spot, Ariel Atkins, 1.8. So that is our leaders after 1 month of the season. And most of these names do not surprise me at all. The biggest surprise for me is definitely Alicia Gray. She has jumped her numbers from last season. Amazing. Everybody already knew she was a great defender and that she was athletic. But the way she's been scoring this season has been amazing to watch. But all the other categories, most of those players' names do not surprise me as far as who's in the top 5 for each of those categories. So right now, we definitely are looking pretty good 1 month into the season. 1 month into the season. Looking fantastic. But so those are the major updates of the WNBA as far as standings and league leaders 1 month in. And I'm going to kind of go through each team and discuss kind of what I've seen after 1 month. So, let's see. I'm not going to go in any particular order. I'm just going to start talking about teams. Let's see. So, first name I see on one of my sheets, we got Atlanta, who is, they're starting to play well together. Like I said, Alicia Gray has come out and just put on a show offensively this season so far. She's always been a great defender. She still does that. Ryan Howard's been having a great season, and they're trying to get used to and still implement Griner, but they still have been looking good. Pow Pow has been looking great. coming off the bench as a rookie. She just had a career high game yesterday as well. So Atlanta has been looking good. They still have, I think, a little bit more chemistry to build, but when they are playing well, they look really good. So I'm not surprised they are where they are. And we got Connecticut. They're a feisty team. So they definitely play. They got a lot of new pieces and got a couple rookies and still trying to get used to, being in the W, being a pro. But they've been playing well. And I didn't expect them to get like a ton of wins this season, but I knew they were going to get some just because they have a team of fighters, and the more they learn each other, the more they learn the W. Like, they'll continue to get better. So they'll be exciting to watch as well. And we got LA Sparks. They've been looking good up and down. Like, some games they look good, other games they don't look so great. The addition of Kelsey Plum, I definitely think has been good for them. It's been good for Plum, and it's been good for the team. She's been showing out a couple games as well. They're still waiting for Cameron Brink to come back, but they have most of their players. So in general, they have been looking pretty decent. They can make the playoffs, but it definitely will be difficult. Like, I think that 7th and 8th spot is literally probably going to be a fight to the end of the season. Because I feel like whoever gets those last 2 spots are going to have a pretty similar record. So I feel like those 2 spots will be determined probably literally the last week of the season leading to the playoffs. Then we got the Golden State Valkyries, the newest team to the league. They have been hooping. Like, they have been giving everybody a run for their money. Like, they do not go down easy. And so I do enjoy watching them play because they come out and they play. They work with each other. They play as a team, and they just, even if they end up losing, like, they're not making it easy for other teams to get that win. And their arena be packed and loud. And so I love to see that area is showing out and showing support for that new team. And they make it difficult to play in Golden State. Like, you can tell when other teams are playing in Golden State, like, they make it difficult. So they're creating a really good home court advantage in Golden State. So we'll see how that plays out. And I wasn't so sure if I could see them, like, sneaking into the playoffs, but after the first month of the season, I can see them, like, if things work out a certain way, they could sneak in there, especially in that 8th spot. I didn't realize my volume was so loud. What's up? Welcome in, Raiders. Welcome in. Appreciate that raid, Mello. I didn't realize my alert was that loud. We doing good. We just talking about the WNBA teams and how everybody looks 1 month in. And I was just talking about the new team, the Golden State Valkyries. They think they're ahead of schedule as far as how they play and how they're looking as a team. I think they're definitely ahead of schedule. Alright, next team we gonna pull up is gonna be the Seattle Storm, which y'all already know. I told y'all Seattle is my sleeper team. I feel like a lot of people were counting Seattle out before the season started, but they can provide some upsets later in the season. They're looking good. They got some vets. They got some young girls, some young women as well. So they're looking pretty good. Scott Diggins is playing good right now. NECA's playing good right now. And their draft pick is probably not getting as many minutes as people want her to or thought she was going to get. But I think they're building her in because she is really young. I think she's like 19. So they're trying to really get her acclimated to being over here in the U.S. and being in the W. And so she's been getting in games, but she's definitely not getting the minutes people probably expected her to get. But Seattle is looking good, so they can definitely be a problem for somebody later down the season for sure. Next, we got Phoenix. Phoenix has been looking good. Satu Sabli has been hooping. Khalid Copper just came back yesterday, so we'll see how they work in their other third person of their like big three that they have with Copper, Satu Sabli, and Alyssa Thomas. So we'll see how they start to play with each other game wise. So I think that'll be a nice triangle offensively and defensively because they can, all three of them can hoop on both sides of the ball. So it should be very exciting. It probably, hopefully, they only take like a game or two for Copper to kind of like get herself back in flow. But we'll see how that happens over the next few weeks. But Phoenix has been looking good too. We got Chicago. Chicago kind of looks how I expected. They got a lot of new players, new coach, and they got a lot of young players. So I feel like they have a lot of adjustments that they deal with from on a week-to-week basis compared to some other teams. And they just lost Courtney Vandersloot, which is a vet point guard. They just lost her for the whole season. So we'll see how they handle the point guard responsibilities. They did just draft Haley Van Lith. So hopefully she will get some minutes to kind of get her legs under her and show what she can do and how she can run things on the court. And then, you know, they got their two post players, the two sophomores. They're playing pretty good. And they added Ariel Atkins. But they've definitely struggled to look good consistently. They've had a couple games where they looked better, but then they've had some games where they just looked horrible. So we'll see how that goes. But Angel Reese did just record her first career triple-double yesterday. So that was very, very exciting, and I was glad to see her accomplish that. So that's a good positive for Angel Reese on the basketball court. So very excited for that. And she's only the second person to have one this season. Of course, the first one was Caitlin Clark when she got hers the first game of the season. So two sophomores got both triple doubles this season. And I think that's pretty dope. I'm excited for them. I love to see all the players do well, whether they're a rookie, a sophomore, they've been in the league for 12 years. I love to see the positives and like the really good stats and helping their teams win. So always glad to see somebody achieve a triple-double in the game. Alright, next up we got Minnesota, of course. Well-oiled machine, always at the top of the league. Nafisa is on a tear. I figured she was going to be because they lost in the finals last year, and I know they were not happy about that. They got most of their pieces back, same coach, so they didn't really have to deal with a lot of adjustments like a whole bunch of other teams in the league had to. So that's why they only have one loss right now. So they up there. They're definitely top two in the league. Both Minnesota and New York have looked miles ahead of everybody chemistry wise, but that's because both of those teams may have only changed one or two things, so they don't have any like huge adjustments to make, whereas the rest of the league had new players, new coaches, all kind of new stuff. So you can definitely tell that those two still have their system and core in place, and they just kind of been rolling with it. Alright, then we got, who did I talk about? Then we got the Fever. Their record is at 500 right now, which is a little surprising for me, but it's not the end of the world either. Caitlin Clark did miss, I think, like 4 or 5 games, but she came back yesterday and put on the show. She put on the show yesterday. And Indiana got the win over New York in Indiana, which I kind of figured that was going to happen because I knew it was a revenge game for Indiana because they feel like they should have lost the first time they played New York. So them winning did not surprise me, but Caitlin Clark definitely put on a show in her return from injury. Like I said, we'll definitely watch some highlights here in a few, so definitely stay tuned if you want to see some of the highlights. But she put on the show yesterday. Alright, who did we talk about? And of course, we got the Liberty. Like I said, they mostly got the same team. They added Cloud. They have the same coach. So they just added some more veteran leadership to their team, which only, I think, at least puts them a little bit better than where they were last year. But we'll see how that turns out in the postseason. But they're at the top like Minnesota, just running like real old machines. So no surprises there. They only got one loss as well. Let's see. We got Dallas. I don't know. It's just, it feels like so much is going on in Dallas, and so much that we probably don't even know. They do have a new coach. They have a rookie in Paige. They have a few other new pieces as well on the team. They're not necessarily new to the league, but they're new pieces to Dallas. And I'm not so sure how it's working out between the players and the coach. They seem a little weird between the players and the new coach. So I'm not sure if they're going to make any adjustments or what they're going to do, because only having one win right now is not a good look. And Paige has been playing really well despite all that. She missed a few games with concussion as well, but she's had some really good games. Enrique has been having some rough games, and then just kind of looking at their roster is just looking at the minutes and how they do some of the rotations. It's definitely like something weird that's not working in Dallas. So we'll see if they make any adjustments. We're a month in, so you got better data and information to make some changes when necessary. And Dallas definitely needs some changes. They definitely need some changes. Alright, we talked about them. Then we got the Aces. Now, their situation isn't as bad as Dallas is, but their situation is not great either. They pretty much have their core, but their defense has been horrible. And I'm not sure if it's a scheme thing or if it's just the players themselves just not playing good defense. And then Asia has missed the last couple games. She's in concussion protocol. We'll see if she comes back this week. But they haven't made any announcements as far as injuries for the games for Tuesday this week. But the Aces have not been looking good either. I definitely didn't see them at the bottom like they are right now 1 month in. So we'll see if they make any adjustments. My big thing is one of their major problem is outside of Asia, they don't have a really good other post presence. Like most of the good teams right now, they have 2 solid post players. Like they don't have to be great, but they got 2 solid post players to defend or to rebound something. Even if they're not scoring, like they're solid post players. And right now, it just feels like all the Aces have is Asia. And it's like, as great as Asia is, that's not going to work. That's not going to work long term. So, we'll see if they make any changes, if they'll pick somebody up, if any of these teams are looking into trades right now, Nobody's said anything yet, but we'll see what shakes up. It's been a month, so there's plenty of time for teams to be like, all right, we like this, but we need to change this. Especially the teams that are on the bottom half of the standings right now. This is the time to start making changes before it's too late. So we'll see. But Dallas and the Aces have worried me when I watch them playing. Like, most other teams don't worry me, but those two, I'm just like, I don't know what y'all be doing sometimes. And the Aces have come up with some good wins, but even those wins, like, you looking at them like, this game should not have been like this. It shouldn't have been this close. But we'll see what happens. I think I talked about everybody. I usually talk about my mistakes last anyway. I did Atlanta, did LA, did the Aces, did Connecticut, did Dallas, did Golden State, Indiana, Chicago, Seattle, Phoenix, New York, Minnesota. Yep, I did everybody. And then lastly, we got my Mystics, which they're kind of where I expected them to be, because I expected us to get some wins and have some losses, considering we have a new coach. We have a lot of rookies. We got a couple vets, but we got a lot of rookies, a lot of young players. Shakira's in her 3rd year, so she's still a young player in the league as well. But we have been looking good majority of the games, and we've probably had the most close games of all the teams in the league. Like, I mean, consistent close games where it literally came down to like the last 5 or 6 minutes in the 4th quarter. And the ones that we lost, like, you can tell the youth of our team and like the decision making at the end of the game. And us, we're still kind of going back and forth between two people playing point guard, in which there's both of them are good, but I feel like they're being a floor general is not 100% there for them. Like, there are some point guards that are literally, they're a floor general. They're managing the clock, they're managing the situations, they're managing like how the ball is moving in crucial times. And you can still be a really good point guard and not really be a floor general. But there are moments where you can tell when people aren't floor generals, and you can tell when a player is a floor general. And I think about that. I saw a clip from one of Dallas's games, and this is where I see a difference in who Paige is as a player, because I feel like Paige has floor general in her. Even though she can score, she has floor general in her. And there was a play where Dallas needed to, like, they needed points, but they needed to, like, make a good play. And she literally slowed everybody down. Even Enrique, she literally was on the court and was like, chill, give me the ball and let's set it up. And that's a floor in general in command, knowing like we need to run a good play and get a basket. And we got a lot of good point guards in our league, but we don't have a lot of floor generals. And I knew that was always going to be a major piece that we were going to miss when we lost Cloud. Like, that was my biggest concern. When we lost Cloud, we lost our floor general. So that kind of showed up in all of our close games. But anybody that watches the Mystics or knows of their situation pretty much probably already knew that too. But our rookies have definitely like stepped it up. Like, they have been hooping. They are in the race for Rookie of the Year. It's not a clear favorite. So many rookies have been playing well that I think we probably won't really know who's going to be contending for Rookie of the Year truly, probably till after like 2 months. Once we figure out who's being consistent and who might take a little drop because it's their rookie year and, you know, the wear and tear of the season. So we'll see. But I like where my Mystics are. We definitely have a lot of room for improvement, and we can potentially be an upset as well. So I'm excited to see how this next month goes and then really see the growth of our rookies and them working together and learning from the vets and us getting better at finishing and closing close games. But that is my take on all the teams after 1 month. Like I said, most teams, they're in good spots. Even if they aren't the best, like they're putting themselves in a good spot. So towards the end of the season, they're going to be fighting for those last like 2 or 3 playoff spots. And so I'm excited. 1 month in, it's been some good basketball, great basketball, and I always love watching great basketball across the league, not just my Mystics, but other teams have had some really great games. There's a lot of players that have improved from last season, and you can see it, and like they out here hooping. So it's definitely been fun for the first month, and I think most people are where I thought they were going to be. There's 1 or 2 that are kind of the reverse of what I thought they were going to be, but like I said, we're 1 month in. We still got like 2 or 3 months, and we'll see if any of these teams get even closer and play better and improve their place in the standings. And we'll see if the people at the top keep that momentum and stay up there. So, because the teams in the middle, they coming. They coming. They putting it together piece by piece, and they coming. So it's definitely going to be exciting to see. All right, before I do the next one, King, I will answer your question. First, I did unlock the whisper, so you can whisper me the channel and another way to contact you or whatever. But I feel like Angel Reese has always been Angel Reese. She is a workhorse. She rebounds and she works. And she scores off, easy opportunities, cuts to the basket. I feel like people are trying to make her into a player that she's not, instead of letting her play to her strengths and helping the team that way. Like, she's not a team's primary scorer. That wasn't, like, that's not the type of player she is. She's not supposed to be the team's primary scorer. She is a workhorse. So she works off of whoever the primary scorer is. And she's been really good at that. So I just feel like people are trying to make her into a specific type of player, which they don't need to. It's just wherever she plays, that team needs to figure out how to surround that with a primary and possibly a secondary scorer, so that she can do what she does. And you saw how those passes in that game, like, she sees her teammates, she can pass as well. And I saw somebody else talking about this, like, she can be a different version of, like, Alyssa Thomas. She can score when she gets in there. She rebounds, and she can find her teammates really well. And so I think if they let her play to what she can do, and then just continue to develop over the years as a more consistent scorer, she will be fine. But she's not like she's not supposed to be the primary or the secondary scorer. She's not. But we'll see how Chicago figures that out. So that's up to them. But I think if you watch that game and watch like where her points came from, the passes that she was making, the rebound she was getting, like, that is her game. Like, that's what she does. And they're trying to compare her to people that they don't need to. Like, there's no reason for us to be comparing her and Caitlin Clark. Completely 2 different players, completely 2 different play styles. Not even considering the fact there's 2 different positions. They've ultimately always had different roles on the teams they were playing. So there's real no reason to truly compare them and what they do. Yeah, like she wasn't the primary. She's not a primary scorer type person. Like, she gets her points off easy buckets, like putbacks, getting a good pass while she slashes to the rim. And that's okay. Like, we need those players too. Like, let them do what they do best. Like, that's how the team is generally works better together. That's how they win. So let her get the rebounds and make the passes when necessary. As you can see, like, she can pass. She made some good passes from multiple spots on the court. It wasn't all the same type of pass either. She got guard shots. She got passes to the post, to the other post players on the court. And so I think she's more versatile than people think. But I don't think that she's going to thrive if she has to be the one scoring all the points. Because her primary skills are elsewhere in the game of basketball. That doesn't mean she can't score. It's just there are players, they are built to score buckets and be the 1 and 2 option on their team, and Reese is not that. And that's okay. Like, I don't understand why people have such a problem with that. Most teams. Also, All-Star voting for the WNBA is active right now. So you go on the WNBA website, you can vote for the All-Stars, which will be in Indiana. Definitely get your vote on. Vote for your favorite players. Alright, tomorrow night we have Connecticut at Indiana, Atlanta at New York, Washington at Chicago, Golden State at Dallas, the Aces at Minnesota, and Seattle at LA. Easy. I'm about to time you out. Alright. So, that is the first month of the WNBA season. We are going to move on to our book of the month, which is Uncommon Favor by Dawn Staley. None other than the great Dawn Staley. And so, this is the passage that I picked for this week. It says, everywhere you look, I've got people who compliment where I'm weak, who supplement my deficiencies. Some leaders like to pretend they don't have shortcomings and they're good at everything, that every success stems from them. To that, I say, oh, hell no. It's smarter and more efficient to do the things you do best and allow others to do the same. I surround myself with talented, down-to-earth people who are focused on being successful, but who also know what it takes. You need to be confident that you won't allow each other to falter. Dawn. Speaking facts of when you're trying to build and be successful, surrounding yourself with people that have the ability to help and supplement what you bring to the table. And that's also a part of what I was talking about when I was asked my thoughts on Angel Reese. Is they have to do a better job surrounding her with people that complement what she brings and who are better at what she doesn't bring. But you could definitely see that with Dawn, even when she was coaching, when she coached at Temple, now she's at South Carolina. Even when she was on Team USA, she builds her staff for the things that her organization is going to need to be successful. And like she said, a lot of people don't want to admit that, like, they have weaknesses, but everyone has weaknesses. Even if they are great at multiple things, everyone has a weakness somewhere. And being able to be aware of that and surround yourself with people that are probably better at that skill, that ability, that knowledge, whatever it is, surrounding yourself with people that complement what you're good at with something they're good at with something that you're not good at. So that is my passage for today. I'm going to read it again. Everywhere you look, I've got people who compliment where I'm weak, who supplement my deficiencies. Some leaders like to pretend they don't have shortcomings and they're good at everything, that every success stems from them. To that, I say, oh, hell no. It's smarter and more efficient to do things you do best and allow others to do the same. I surround myself with talented, down-to-earth people who are focused on being successful, but who also know what it takes. We need to be confident that you won't allow each other to falter. And that's also surrounding yourself with people who are going to hold each other accountable. So even though they compliment things, you're going to hold them accountable. They're going to hold you accountable. Everybody's holding each other accountable because we all have something we're trying to achieve. So we got to make sure we hold each other up so that we can get there. So that is my piece from today from Dawn Staley's book. She has a lot of gems in this book. I challenged you guys last episode to be of service to somebody else in some way or fashion, whether it was giving up a little bit of your time, financial, emotional, physical, whatever. We talked about being of service to others in last week's episode. So this week, it's about recognizing where you're strong, where you're weak, and trying to find others who also are trying to achieve something you're trying to achieve so that y'all can help each other and hold each other up when things get hard. Because inevitably, things will get hard. When you're trying to grow, when you're trying to build something, when you're trying to start something, there are always going to be times where it just gets hard. And you need those around you to hold you up at certain points in that path. So, whatever you're working on, try to surround yourself with the right people, because we all need somebody at some point. So definitely try to surround yourself with the right people no matter what you're trying to achieve. But that is the piece from the book of the month, Uncommon Favor, Dawn Staley. So we'll end there. We'll recap today's episode. Today we talked about the Women's Hockey League. Their draft is June 24th. They're getting ready to start a new season. They have added 2 new teams. So instead of 6 teams this upcoming season, they will have 8 teams. Draft is June 24th. I'm going to see if it's going to be on YouTube. If it is, I'm going to try to show it and do some research and also see who's actually going to be eligible for the draft and where they're coming from. We also talked about the Women's Soccer League. After this weekend, they will be on international break. A lot of players will either be on Team USA or they'll be playing for their countries. So they'll have another international break coming up. Again, All-Star voting is open for the WNBA. So go on the website. You can vote once a day. Vote for your favorite players. Get them into All-Star Weekend. All-Star Weekend is in Indiana in July. I discussed how I felt all the different teams were looking this season. And the first month of the WNBA season has definitely been fun to watch. There's been some key injuries, but people have also come back. So there's some teams that have kind of been up and down. But I think a lot of teams have started to kind of catch their rhythm or figure out their lineups, because a lot of teams had a lot of new players and a lot of new coaches and new systems. So this first month was definitely an adjustment for a lot of teams. So I think in the next couple of weeks, we'll really start to see how teams will be playing majority of the season. So I'm definitely very, very excited. This is my favorite time of year. So we'll definitely keep you guys updated each week. But thank you guys for hanging out for episode 11. As always, the purpose of Welcome Home and the host, Lady Blue Flames, is to educate, appreciate, support, and promote women's sports. The purpose of this show and this channel is to educate, appreciate, promote, and support women's sports. Welcome home.